Welcome to the hub of analytics education, preparing students for the future, millions of records at a time. The hub of analytics education is located in Boston, Massachusetts.
My name is Charlie Baymaldon, one of the co-founders of the hub of analytics education. The objective for today's video is to learn how to join two data tables together. The business intelligence tool that we're going to be using is IDEA from Caseware Analytics. IDEA is predominantly used by internal and external auditors. Now you're going to need a few files for this particular exercise. You're going to need, from the Hub of Analytics Education, the beginning inventory, the ending inventory, as well as the purchase price file from the Hub of Analytics Education. So once you have those files and your license for IDEA, we can get started.
All right, here we are back in Caseware by IDEA. As you can see from the last video, I've done quite a lot of stuff here, and that's just to get ready for this video. So I brought in a lot of files. You don't need all of these files today, but I did bring all of these in. So this is the purchase price file, the beginning inventory file, the ending inventory file, and the purchases file. And I've done a couple of other things, such as summarizing December purchases and extracting the inventory IDs from the beginning inventory file, the ending inventory file, and that summary December purchases. So we've done quite a lot. If you just want to take a look at what these names are, you can just go over here and expand this out a little bit more, give yourself a little bit more opportunity to see what the names are of these particular files, because just to give you an idea about what we're looking at here. So those are all the different files that I created. Now let's slide this back a little bit here, and we can start doing some interesting things with joining two tables. So the first thing we want to do is we want to join tables, and then later we're going to append tables. So the first thing we want to do is join two tables together. So we're going to match two specific databases on a common field. And in this particular case, we want to open up, we're going to close the sales file here, because I just want to look at one table at a time. And we're going to open up the ending inventory file. So double click that on, and this is my ending inventory file. And you can take a look at all the fields that are in here: inventory ID, store, city, etc. Now I'm going to activate the index, because right now it says no index, but I did put on an index for every single one of my tables based on inventory ID. So I'm going to activate that index, just so we're constantly looking at it from an inventory ID perspective. Now one of the things that you notice on this particular table is that we've got the price here, but this is the sales price. Wouldn't I like to know what the purchase prices are? So I've also got this 2017 purchase price file that I have uploaded or imported into IDEA. So I'm going to open that file as well, that table. So now I can look at my purchase prices. There's no index on this. And now I can see this is based on brand. It doesn't have inventory ID, but it does have brand on it. And it has the purchase price, which is what I want. Because what I'd love to be able to do ultimately is have purchase price in here and maybe use what I have on hand times the purchase price to come up with my inventory cost. That'll be a different video, but right now we want to see how can we join these two tables based on a common field. So we want to join these two tables based on the common field, and I think the common field we have here is going to be brand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce one more index into this ending inventory file. And I'm going to index, so I'm going to back up to data, and I'm going to index based on not inventory ID, but brand. And we'll do it in ascending order. So we're going to index by brand, and we're going to click OK. This shouldn't take long at all. And it didn't. So now everything is indexed based on brand. And you can see it's across all of the different inventory IDs. We've got all the different the different store numbers, etc., and all of them have these different brands in them. Okay, so we've got this by brand. This looks like it's sorted by brand, but let's just index it as well to make sure it is. So let's index this by brand, ascending, click OK. And now we know that is indexed by brand. This just helps when we go to do some joining. So let's activate again the ending inventory file. We always want to, what we want is we want to join from the ending inventory file, and we want to have this smaller data set join in with that. So let's go back to analysis, and we're going to hit join. And we're brought up the join field, join databases. So our primary database is the ending inventory. Remember, we want data to come from the secondary database into the primary database. So we want data to come from purchase prices into the ending inventory file. So the primary database we want is, well, we want all those fields. Right? We want to keep this all intact. So we're okay with that. We don't have a criterion here, so we're not going to exclude everything. We want to make sure this is done across everyone. Now we want to select the secondary database, and we know it's going to be the 2017 purchase price file. So let's hit select, and we want to do it based on this. Now, it allows you, even if this isn't active, it allows you to pick whatever databases you want, but we know it's this database. We're going to click OK. Now we want to figure out which fields we want to come into our ending inventory file. And we know the field that we want is going to be purchase price. We know that. The question is, do we want any of these other variables to come in? At this point in time, I'm going to say no. The only thing I want is purchase price. Click OK. Now we want to figure out the matches. And there's a lot of different things you can do here as far as only look for the matches, all records in the primary file, or all records in both files. And what we really want to look at is all records in the primary file, because what happens if it does matches only and I don't have a purchase price? I want to know that. So I want to look at all records that are in the primary file. I want to make sure I have a purchase price for everything in this file, all records in the primary file. And now what do we want to do? We want to match on something. So let's click match. And we want to match, not inventory ID, on the primary, this is the primary data set. We want to match based on brand, ascending order, and secondary brand. So brand to brand, and we want to bring in purchase price, or we want to bring in whatever fields we chose on that secondary. So we want to bring in fields, we want to bring in the purchase price, so we've selected that. Selected the right secondary database. We've selected the right field we want, purchase price. We're matching all records on primary file. I think we're in good shape. Let's click OK. This may take a couple of seconds. And that's exactly how long it took, a couple of seconds. And now what I've got is I've got my inventory IDs, brand, and now I've added the purchase price in for all of those brands. So that's one way to join databases. Now, I'm going to close this out because I want to rename it. Because right now it's sitting under here, join databases. I'm going to close this out, and then I'm going to right-click on join databases, and I'm going to rename that ending inventory with purchase price, just so I know what that table is. Okay, ending inventory with purchase price. Now that's how you join. The next thing I want to do is I want to append or create or join a bunch of databases together. Now, we were extracting all of these inventory ID files. And what I want to do now is I want to bring those all together to create a master inventory ID file. I'll explain to you why we want to do that in a moment. So we're going to go up here to Append, and we're going to create an appended database. Let's call this Master IDs. Okay? And now we're going to go through the process of adding different files want to expand all this out. We want to add different files to this append function. All right? And this is databases to append to an active database. So right now, this is going to append to my ending inventory final file. I really don't want that appended to my ending inventory final file. So we're going to cancel out of this and go back and delete that. Not delete it, but get out of that. So let's open up one of these ID files here, the inventory IDs beginning. Let's open up that. And now what we want to do is we want to append the other inventory ID files to this beginning inventory ID file. So let's click append again. Now we're going to create the master IDs. We put that little, what are we appending to, in there just to make sure that you are appending these subsequent databases to the one you're looking for. All right? So we already know that we've already got the beginning inventory file, beginning inventory IDs there. Now we want to add in all the other ID files that we have here. So we want to add this to the beginning inventory ID file, and notice this has 206,000 records. The ending inventory ID file has 224 records. Well, I obviously bought more stuff and have more IDs. The purchases has 245,000 records. So what is going on here? Why are there differences? And then the sales has 267,000 records. Well, the issue we've got here with IDs is we're only keeping the IDs where we have sales, where we have purchases, where we have beginning inventory, we have ending inventory. And so I may have something in beginning inventory that I never sold during the entire year, and that inventory ID is not here, nor is it in purchases. I may also have some items where I didn't have them in beginning inventory, nor did I have them in ending inventory, but I purchased and I sold the entire allotment during the year, and so that may be why these are here. And there may be also some items where I may have bought it right at the end of the year, but I haven't had any sales. So there's a lot of different inventory IDs, and I just want to make sure I have a master list of those inventory IDs. So we're going to start putting in these IDs to append to the beginning inventory ID file. So we're going to add the ending inventory IDs, we're going to add the purchases IDs, and we're going to add the sales IDs. And so these three databases are going to be appended to this beginning inventory ID database. This shouldn't take long, and it's going to give us our master IDs. And just like that, we have our master IDs. Now, there's 944,477 records. I probably have a lot of duplicates. And in fact, let's go in and put an index here, an index by the inventory IDs. And we can see that we're going to have a lot of duplicates. So for example, we have 2 of these Hornsies. We've got, looks like 4 of the 101s, 3 of the 1003s. So now what we've got to do is we've got to eliminate all of the duplicates. Now there is a duplicate function here that we could potentially get rid of and do something with duplicates. But I think an easier way of doing this is just coming up with a summary of the inventory IDs, and then and because it's going to tell you how many counts you've got, but then what you're left with is just the summary of inventory IDs and just the master list of inventory IDs. So we're going to do that as well. We're just going to do a quick summarization. We're going to be summarizing by inventory ID, and we're going to create a new database. This is the master ID final, we'll call it. We don't want any statistics. We're going to create a database, and the only field we want in there is inventory ID. This should be all we need to do. So let's click OK. This should take no time because this is also indexed now by inventory ID. And just like that, we now have the master list of inventory IDs. We don't really care about the number of records, and it's not going to bother us to have it in here with this master ID final. So we'll keep track of this master ID final when we do some relational databases using the visual connector. So today what we did is we did some joining We joined our purchase price file with our ending inventory file, and we also appended other data sets to one other data set. Thanks for watching the Hub of Analytics Education video series. The Hub of Analytics Education provides open educational resources to educators around the globe, supporting both higher education and secondary education. For more information, please visit our website at hubae.org.